The phone call came at 3:47 in the morning. Serafina Valen didn't answer. She sat on the edge of her rented bed in the converted storage unit she called home on Mars Colony 7, staring at the communicator as it buzzed against the metal nightstand. Outside, the rust-red dust of Mars swirled against reinforced windows. Inside, the walls were bare, except for scorch marks from the previous tenant. 3 years running. 3 years since the directorate had found her on Kepler Station. 3 years since she'd watched them execute Vera, the fourth vessel. Vera had screamed when they'd ripped the artifact from her body. The sound had carried through the station's corridors like a child's last cry. Serafina had run. The communicator stopped buzzing, started again. Someone wanted her attention badly. She picked it up. "Miss Valen." The voice on the other end was young, nervous, human. "There's a transport leaving for the Star Phoenix in 6 hours. Dock 12. Your ticket is waiting." "I didn't book passage on the Star Phoenix." "No, we did." Silence stretched between them. Serafina could hear the young man's breathing quicken. "Who's we?" "Friends who want you alive. The directorate is mobilizing. They know you're on Mars. You have maybe 2 days before they arrive. The Phoenix is a luxury liner, rich passengers, high security, the kind of place they won't attack openly." "And if I don't go," the young man's voice dropped, "then we tried. Dock 12, 6 hours, don't miss it." The line went dead. Serafina set the communicator down. Her hands were steady. They'd been steady for 3 years. Steady when she'd stolen a ship from Vera's killers. Steady when she'd changed her name 4 times. Steady when she'd slept in airlocks and eaten ration bars that tasted like recycled plastic. But inside, where the Sword of Arcus lived, nothing was steady. The artifact pulsed, a low thrum that started in her chest and radiated outward, like a second heartbeat, like something alive that wanted out. She pressed a hand to her sternum, breathed slowly. The artifact had been quiet for weeks, but lately it woke more often, screamed louder. The ancient power inside her was destabilizing. She had maybe 2 years before it killed her, maybe less. Serafina stood, packed the small bag she kept ready. 3 changes of clothes, fake identification, a blade she'd never had to use, and a data chip containing everything she knew about the 7 artifacts of the ancients. Insurance, in case she didn't survive. 6 hours later, she boarded the Star Phoenix. The ship was obscene. 17 decks of floating wealth wrapped in gleaming white hull plates. Observation domes that cost more than most planetary mining operations. Real wood furniture. Water that wasn't recycled. The kind of excess that existed only for people who'd forgotten what hunger felt like. Serafina's cabin was on deck 9, Emperor class, silk sheets, a bathroom with actual marble, a window that showed the stars wheeling past in perfect silence. She stood at that window and studied her reflection. Blue skin, the deep blue of Earth's oceans at noon, according to the old records. Pink hair that fell past her shoulders, soft as flower petals. Violet eyes with gold flecks that caught the light when she was angry or afraid. Valoran, the last of a dead empire. She'd been beautiful once, before the running, before the artifact. Now she was just tired. The first dinner seating was at 7. Serafina arrived at 6:55. The Crown of Orion restaurant sprawled across the upper deck, all crystal chandeliers and artificial nebula effects outside the windows. The prices on the menu could feed a frontier station for a month. She scanned the room with practiced efficiency. 2 grand teen merchants arguing over shipping contracts. A human couple so wrapped up in each other they didn't notice the waiter hovering nearby. 3 Orlanians playing cards in the far corner, their 4 eyes flickering between hands. And then she saw him. Corner table, back to the wall, clear sight lines to both exits. Human male, early 40s, dark hair graying at the temples, strong jaw, eyes that had seen too much and still kept looking. He wore civilian clothes, but they hung on him wrong. Too carefully casual, like a soldier trying to remember how to be anything else. He was checking the exits, counting threats, cataloging escape routes. Serafina knew what he was because she'd spent 3 years becoming the same thing, an operative. And if her sources were right, his name was Darius Thorne, Galactic Security Agency, 30 years of service, best field agent in 3 star systems, currently on what the agency called a luxury assignment, currently hunting her. Serafina made her choice in 3 seconds. She walked across the restaurant. Her dress was black, not quite black. The kind of black that made other colors look uncertain. She'd chosen it carefully. The kind of dress that said, "I belong here, don't question me." She stopped at his table. "Is this seat taken?" Darius Thorne looked up. His eyes were brown, dark brown, the kind of brown that held shadows and didn't apologize for them. "The whole restaurant is half empty." "Yes," Serafina said, "but everyone else is boring." She sat down, picked up his wine glass, his glass, took a sip. "You've checked every exit 4 times in the past 10 minutes, she continued. "You're sitting with your back to the wall, and you ordered the most expensive wine on the menu without looking at the price." She set the glass down. "Interesting man." Darius's expression didn't change, but something shifted behind his eyes. Recognition. Calculation. "Maybe I just like wine." "Maybe." Serafina extended her hand. "Serafina, but my friends call me Sarah." He took it. His skin was warm, rough. The hand of someone who'd worked for everything he had. Andrew DeVille. Strange name. Strange parents. Serafina smiled. She'd caught the tell, the micro-hesitation before the surname. The way his eyes had shifted slightly left when he said it. Classic deception marker. Andrew DeVille. She turned the name over in her mind, rearranged the letters. Her smile widened. He was lying. But so was she. Fair enough. "I like strange people," she said. "Andrew DeVille." The days blurred together like watercolors in rain. They walked the observation deck at 3 in the morning when the crowds were asleep and the stars felt close enough to touch. They ate breakfast in her cabin because she ordered too much food and he pretended not to notice. They played chess in the lounge while wealthy passengers drank cocktails and talked about investments that would never matter. He told her about Earth, the real Earth, not the sanitized version they showed in promotional materials. Sunsets over dying oceans. Cities that never slept because sleeping meant falling behind. People who worked themselves into early graves for the privilege of existing. She told him about Valor, her dead homeworld, mountains made of red sandstone, cities carved into cliffs, an empire that had ruled half the galaxy before it collapsed under its own weight and pride. They both lied about the important things, but in the silences between sentences, in the glances across crowded rooms, they were honest. On the 4th night, she beat him at chess. "You let me win," she said. "I didn't." Liar. She moved her queen. Check. Darius studied the board, his jaw tightened. She watched him recognize the trap he'd walked into. Watched him realize she'd been playing 5 moves ahead for the past 20 minutes. "You're good at this," he said finally. "At chess, at everything." Serafina met his eyes. Her smile had edges now, the kind that promised consequences. "You have no idea." But even as she said it, something twisted in her chest, not the artifact, something else, something more dangerous. She was starting to care. The 6th day changed everything. They were having dinner, late seating. The Crown of Orion was half empty, most passengers already drunk or asleep. Serafina had ordered the fish, something expensive and probably endangered. She was halfway through explaining valor and poetry when Darius's eyes shifted. Not to her, past her. His whole body language changed, subtle. But she'd been watching him for 6 days. She knew his tells now. "What?" she asked quietly. "Waiter, 10 o'clock, moving too fast. Wrong hand under the tray." Serafina didn't turn. Instead, she leaned across the table, put her hand on Darius's jaw, turned his face toward hers. "Kiss me," she whispered. "Now, and don't turn around." He could have questioned it, should have questioned it. Instead, he leaned in and pressed his lips to hers. The kiss lasted 3 seconds. In the reflection of his pupils, she saw it. The waiter behind her, hand sliding under the serving tray. The glint of metal, a Grand Teen combat blade, military grade. Serafina pulled back, grabbed her fork, spun. The fork left her hand like a throwing knife. It buried itself in the waiter's shoulder. Not the fork tines, the handle. Blunt force trauma to the subclavian artery. The waiter screamed, dropped the knife, stumbled backward into a table. Security arrived in seconds. The waiter was restrained, Taken away. The restaurant manager apologized profusely. Other diners stared. Serafina straightened her dress, smiled at the manager with perfect composure. "I'm afraid I overreacted," she said calmly. "I thought he was reaching for something. A weapon. Silly of me." The manager stammered something about complimentary desserts. Serafina declined. Later, in the corridor, alone, Darius turned to her. "How did you know?" His hand was shaking. His hand was shaking. "Real waiters don't shake," Serafina said. "They train for years to hold trays steady. It's the first thing they learn." He was nervous. Amateurs are always nervous. "And the fork," her smile returned. "Dangerous again. Did you think you were the only one who could kill with silverware?" Darius stared at her. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. The sound was rusty, unused, like machinery that hadn't run in years. "You're a dangerous woman, Serafina Valen." She froze. He'd used her real name. "Yes," Darius said softly. "I know who you are." The air between them felt electric, charged with unspoken truths. "How long have you known?" "From the beginning. I was sent to find you, to gather intelligence on the sword of Arcus." Serafina's hand moved to her side, where a weapon should have been, but she'd left everything in her cabin. "And," she asked, "are you going to complete your mission?" Darius looked at her, really looked at her. Those tired brown eyes that had seen too much. "No," he said. "I don't think I am." They found the second assassin the next morning. His name was Kelvin Rourke, former directorate operative. 12 confirmed kills, wanted in 4-star systems. Darius found him in a service corridor, pressing a young waitress against the wall. The girl was crying. "Tell me when the blue skin goes to dinner," Rourke was saying, "or I'll show you what happens to people who disappoint me." "Hey," Darius said. Rourke turned, grinned. "Another hero." The fight lasted 40 seconds. Darius didn't waste motion. Every strike was economical, precise, joint locks, pressure points, the kind of combat that came from 3 decades of practice. Rourke was good, but Darius was better. 30 seconds and Rourke was pressed against the airlock window, staring at stars. "Tell me who hired you," Darius said. "The directorate. They want intel on the blue skin, something about a sword." "Interesting. I told you everything. Now, let me go." Darius considered this. "You were going to hurt that girl. She's just a waitress." "Yeah," Darius said. "She was." He reached for the airlock controls. Rourke's eyes widened. "But you said—" "I lied." The airlock opened. The silence of space swallowed the screaming. Darius turned away. The waitress stood there, shaking. "You didn't see this," he told her gently. "Understand?" She nodded, ran. Darius stood alone in the corridor, stared at his reflection in the sealed airlock window, saw what he'd become, what he'd always been. A killer. He found Serafina in her cabin. She was standing at the window, staring at stars. "There was another one," he said. "I know. I heard." "Sarah, they're coming for me, Darius." She didn't turn around. "The directorate. They've already killed 3 other vessels. Vera, Kellen, Thrace. They ripped the artifacts out. Study them. The vessels always die. I won't let them take you." "Why?" Now she turned. Those violet eyes with gold flecks met his. "You don't even know me." "Don't I?" The question hung between them. 6 days, Darius said. "I've learned more about you in 6 days than I've learned about anyone in 30 years. He stepped closer. "You're brilliant. You think 5 moves ahead. You fight like someone who's had to. You carry something inside you that's killing you slowly. And you're alone, completely alone. Because everyone you've ever trusted has either died or betrayed you." Serafina's breath caught. "And here's the thing," Darius continued. "I was sent to find you, to complete a mission. But instead I found someone who made me remember what it's like to be human. Not a weapon, not an operative, just a person." "Darius, I'm not completing the mission," he said. "I'm filing a false report. You died in transit, lost in space. They'll close the case, and you'll be free." Serafina stared at him. Something shifted in her expression. The armor she wore cracked. Just a little. "Why would you do that?" Because in 30 years of killing, Darius said, I'd like to save one life that matters. She kissed him then, not like the restaurant, not for show. This was real. This was raw. This was two people who'd spent their lives running, finally standing still. Her cabin was closer. Later. Much later. She lay against his shoulder, traced patterns on his chest with her fingertip. Outside, stars wheeled past in their eternal dance. Andrew DeVille, she said softly, that's not your real name. No. Will you ever tell me? Maybe someday. She didn't push, just pressed closer, her blue skin cool against his warmth. Darius, she said after a while. Yeah. There's something I need to tell you. He waited. The artifact, the sword of Arcus. It's inside me. I'm its vessel. And it's killing me. I have maybe 2 years, less if I use its power. Darius's hand stilled on her shoulder. Sere, and there's something else. She took his hand, and placed it on her stomach. I'm pregnant. The world stopped. Darius didn't move, didn't breathe. How long have you known? He asked finally. 3 days, maybe 4. I wasn't sure at first. Morning sickness, missed cycle. But now, she looked up at him. I'm sure. Sarah, I'm telling you because you deserve to know, not because I expect anything. I've been alone 3 years. I can do this alone. No, Darius said. His voice was rough. You can't. Darius, I mean you won't. He pulled her closer. You won't be alone. Not anymore. Serafina closed her eyes. For the first time in 3 years, she felt something like hope. I'm scared, she whispered. Me too. They stayed like that. 2 people who'd spent their lives running, finally finding something worth standing still for. The 8th day, everything changed. The explosion ripped through the lower decks at exactly 11:47 p.m. Serafina woke to alarms. Red emergency lights strobing across her cabin. Darius was already up, already moving. Get dressed, he said, now. She didn't argue, pulled on clothes. The ship lurched beneath their feet, artificial gravity flickering. What's happening? We're under attack. They ran. The corridors were chaos, passengers screaming, crew members shouting orders. Fire suppressant systems spraying foam that did nothing against plasma burns. This way, Darius said, leading her through the maze. But Serafina knew ships. She'd stolen enough of them. No, she said. The escape pods are aft. We're going forward. There's a maintenance shaft, which will be blocked by fire. Trust me. He looked at her, nodded. They reversed course. The aft section was worse. Entire decks open to space. Bodies floating in vacuum. The Phoenix was dying, quickly. They reached the pod bay. 1 pod left. The last one, biometric lock. Glowing red, waiting for authorization. Darius ran forward, pressed his palm to the scanner. Access denied. He tried again. Same result. It's locked to the ticket holder, Serafina said. Her voice was eerily calm. Only the original passenger can activate it. She stepped forward, pressed her palm to the scanner. Access granted. The pod door hissed open. Behind them, another explosion. Closer. The deck tilted 45 degrees. Get in, Serafina said. What? Get in the pod, now. Darius stared at her. Sarah, what are you? It's a single-seat pod, Darius. 1 person, and you're bleeding. He looked down. Shrapnel from the explosion had torn through his side. Blood soaking through his shirt. I'll find another way, he said. There is no other way. The ship groaned, metal screaming, the sound of something dying. Then we both die, Darius said. Serafina looked at him. This man who'd made her feel human again. This man who'd chosen her over his mission. This man who'd given her 6 days of something close to happiness. This man who was the father of the child growing inside her. I'm sorry, she said, and shoved him into the pod. Darius stumbled, hit the back wall, turned. Sarah, no. She slammed the door, hit the lock. Sarah. He pounded on the glass. She could see his face. Shock, horror, rage. I'm pregnant, she screamed through the glass. I'm carrying your child. Darius froze, his face changed. Shock became understanding. Understanding became something else. Something that looked like and sorrow and love all twisted together into one impossible emotion. Then you have to live, she heard him say, muffled through the glass. Both of you, live for me. His hand found the emergency launch button inside. Don't, Serafina said. Darius, please. He smiled, that tired smile she'd learned to love in 6 impossible days. Best vacation of my life. The pod detached, launched into darkness. Serafina watched it go, a small point of light disappearing into the infinite black. The ship lurched again. Fire everywhere. The sword of Arcus screamed inside her chest, wanting out, wanting to destroy, wanting to save her. She couldn't use it. If she did, she'd die. The baby would die, but maybe. Maybe if she controlled it, just a little. Serafina closed her eyes. Let the artifact wake. Gold light blazed from her skin. Her eyes burned pure gold. Power flooded through her veins like liquid fire. She raised her hands. The pod bay doors blew outward, not inward, a controlled explosion that created a vacuum strong enough to pull debris away from the escaping pod. Away from Darius. Serafina felt the space trying to take her, felt her lungs burning, felt the cold trying to freeze her blood. Valorant could survive brief vacuum exposure. Maybe 60 seconds, maybe less. She had one chance. Hibernation state. Deep meditation that slowed metabolism to almost nothing. She dropped. Let herself fall into the cold. Let the artifact quiet. Let everything go dark. Her last thought was, I owe you now, Darius Thorn, and I will repay it. This life, next life, any life. 3 weeks later, a salvage crew found her, floating in a damaged life raft, barely alive, but alive. They asked her name. She told them Lyra Novus, a new identity, a new life. They asked if there were other survivors. She said no. In her hand clutched tight was a data chip. Darius's agency identification. She'd found it in her cabin. Must have fallen from his pocket. She looked at his picture, his real name, Darius Thorn. She'd known. Of course she'd known. You don't survive 3 years on the run without learning to see through cheap aliases. Andrew DeVille, rearrange the letters, add 2, Darius Thorn. She would have told him she knew. Eventually, now she'd have to tell their daughter. Serafina placed a hand on her stomach. Still flat, still unchanged. But something was growing there. Someone. Your father, she whispered, was the kind of man who'd give up his life for strangers. The kind of man who'd choose love over duty. The kind of man this broken galaxy needed. Tears ran down her blue cheeks. And I promise you, I swear to you, I will find him. Even if it takes 8 years, even if it takes 80, I will find him, and I will show him what his sacrifice created. The salvage ship jumped to hyperspace. Behind them, the wreckage of the Star Phoenix drifted, silent, empty, a tomb for the hundreds who hadn't made it. But somewhere in that wreckage, no body was found matching Darius Thorn's description. Somewhere, somehow, he had survived. And Serafina would spend the next 8 years proving it. The promise wasn't fulfilled yet, not even close. 8 years is a long time to carry a promise. Year 1, so the frontier station was called Mercy's End, an ironic name for a place that showed none. It hung in the dead space between inhabited systems. A way station for smugglers and those who had nowhere else to go. Serafina arrived on a stolen transport, 7 months pregnant, alone. The medical bay was a converted storage room. No doctor, just an automated surgical unit that had seen better decades and a protocol droid with a cracked vocoder. She went into labor at 3 in the morning. The pain was fire, white hot, all-consuming, but she'd felt worse. The sword of Arcus had shown her what real agony felt like. This was nothing. This was just her body doing what bodies did. Bring life into the world. The droid's mechanical hands were cold, efficient, no warmth, no comfort. Push, it said in its broken voice. Cardiac rhythm elevated. Push. She pushed, and screamed into the empty room where no one could hear. The baby came at dawn, small, blue-skinned, perfect. Specimen appears healthy, the droid said. Hybrid physiology, Valoran human. Unusual but viable. Serafina didn't hear. She was staring at the infant in her arms, at the tiny face, the closed eyes that would open soon, the eyes that would be brown. His eyes. The baby cried. That first sound, that announcement of existence. Serafina cried with her. Not from pain, from something else. Something that felt like grief and joy twisted together so tightly they became the same thing. Lyric, she whispered. Your name is Lyric. Because some promises were poems, and this child was hers. Year 2, Lyric was 6 months old when the directorate found them. Serafina had been careful, changed names, changed stations, kept moving. But somehow they knew. Somehow they always knew. She woke to alarms, grabbed Lyric, ran. The station's corridors were narrow, made for humans, not for mothers carrying infants. But Serafina made it work. She'd learned to make everything work. Behind her boots, heavy, military grade. Target acquired. Blue-skinned female with hybrid infant. Engage. Serafina didn't look back. Didn't need to. She knew what directorate soldiers look like. Black armor, no faces, just death in uniform. She reached an airlock, sealed herself inside, hit the external release. The soldiers tried to override, failed. Through the viewport, she watched them pound on the door, watched them bring cutting tools, watched them realize they'd need 10 minutes to get through. She had 9. The transport she'd stolen was docked on the other side. She suited up, put Lyric in a makeshift carrier against her chest. The baby didn't cry, didn't make a sound, just watched with those brown eyes that saw too much. I'm sorry, Serafina whispered. I'm so sorry this is your life. She opened the outer door. Space took her, 30 seconds across the void. Magnetic boots, one hand holding Lyric tight, the other pulling them along the station's hall. She made it to the transport. Sealed in. Launched. Behind her, the directorate soldiers breached the airlock. Found nothing. Year 3. Money was a problem. Food was a problem. Staying alive was a problem. Serafina solved problems. She took work. Quiet work. The kind that didn't ask questions. Courier runs between gray market stations. Information brokering for people who paid well and forgot quickly. Sometimes when she had no choice, she stole. Lyric grew, started walking, started talking. Mama, where's Papa? Serafina froze. They were in another rented room on another forgettable station. She'd been checking ammunition counts for a job that would pay for 3 months of food. Papa isn't here, sweetheart. Why? Because he had to stay behind, to keep us safe. When is he coming back? Serafina looked at her daughter, 2 years old, too smart for her own good, eyes the color of earth's soil that demanded truth. I don't know, she said, but I'm going to find him. Promise, promise. It was the second promise she'd made, and this one she would keep. Year 4, the first ship came to her. Not a warship, a small freighter, crew of 6. They'd heard stories. The blue-skinned woman who could outfly anyone. The one who'd escaped the directorate 3 times. The one who never stopped moving. They wanted to join her. Join me for what? Serafina asked. Whatever you're building, their captain said. An older woman, scarred, military bearing. We know what you are, we know what you carry, and we're tired of running too. Serafina studied them, saw the desperation, the hope, the same look she saw in the mirror. I'm not building anything, she said. Then start. She did. The crew of 6 became 12, became 20, became 50. Refugees, former soldiers, people the galaxy had chewed up and spit out. They came because she offered something no one else did. Purpose, protection, a reason to fight back. Year 5, the fleet grew. 15 ships now. Nothing military grade. Converted freighters, salvaged fighters. One old medical frigate that barely held atmosphere. But they flew, and they were hers. Lyric was 4, old enough to understand what her mother was building. Old enough to ask the hard questions. Mama, are we pirates? No, baby, we're not pirates. Then what are we? Serafina looked out at the fleet assembling around their flagship, a converted luxury liner they'd renamed Phoenix Reborn. Irony, hope, both. We're survivors, she said, and someday we're going to be more than that. Year 6, 100 ships. Word spread. The blue-skinned woman who'd built a fleet from nothing, who protected refugees, who hunted directorate patrols that got too close to civilian stations, who'd become something between freedom fighter and legend. They called her the Sapphire Commander. She hated the name, used it anyway. Lyric was 5. Training already, combat basics, starship operations. Everything a child shouldn't need to know. Everything this child would need to survive. When do we find Papa? Lyric asked one night. Soon. You always say soon. I know. Do you even know where he is? Serafina pulled her daughter close, felt the small body against hers, the warmth, the trust. No, she admitted, but I'm going to find out. Year 7, 200 ships. The directorate tried to crush them, failed. Serafina had learned tactics from 3 years of running, had learned strategy from 4 years of building, had learned ruthlessness from watching friends die. She was no longer the frightened vessel fleeing from station to station. She was a commander, a leader, someone to be feared. The artifact inside her pulsed more frequently now, demanding, hungry. She could feel it eating away at her life force, could feel the time slipping through her fingers like water. Maybe 3 years left, maybe 2. She needed to find him, needed to give Lyric what she'd promised. A father. Year 8. The informant came to her on a backwater station, nervous, twitchy, the kind of person who sold information because loyalty was too expensive. I know where he is, the informant said. Serafina's heart stopped. Who? Darius Thorne, the agent, the one from the Phoenix. He's alive. Where Planet Rebellion goes by Carlos Alfenti now. Bad cover, works as an antiques dealer, but he's taking most dirty work, the kind that keeps the ghosts away. Serafina paid double what the informant asked. Didn't haggle, didn't negotiate. She finally had what she needed, a destination. She told Lyric that night, "We're going to find your father." Lyric looked up from the tactical display she'd been studying. 7 years old, too young to look so hard, too old to look soft. What if he doesn't want us? The question cut, sharp, unexpected. He doesn't know about you, Serafina said carefully. If he had, he would have looked. I know he would have. You left him on a burning ship, Mama. Maybe he's angry. Maybe. Maybe he hates us. Serafina knelt, met her daughter's eyes, those brown eyes that were so much like his. Listen to me. Your father gave up his life so we could live. That's not the action of someone who hates. That's love. And love doesn't die, not the real kind. How do you know? Because I've spent 8 years proving it. Planet Rebellion lived up to its name. The capital city was called Chaos. Appropriate, a mess of neon and rust. Criminal enterprise and desperate dreams. The kind of place governments pretended didn't exist. Serafina's fleet arrived at dawn. 200 ships, blocking out the sun, casting shadows across the entire city. The message was clear. We're here. Notice us. The Phoenix Reborn descended first. Flagship, command vessel, symbol of everything she'd built. Lyric stood beside her mother on the bridge, silent, watching. Are you ready? Serafina asked. Are you? Fair question. 8 years of searching, 8 years of building, 8 years of carrying a promise and a child and hope that refused to die. But she would try. The landing ramp extended. Light spilled out. Serafina walked down, Lyric beside her, 2 figures in the morning light. The casino called Golden Solid squatted in downtown's heart, exactly where the informant said he'd be. Inside at a poker table in the back corner, a man sat studying his cards. Thick mustache, deep tan, shirt unbuttoned, 1 button too many, gold chain catching the light. Carlos Alfente, terrible cover identity. But his eyes, those tired brown eyes that had seen too much. Darius Thorne. Beside him stood a mountain, 8 feet of living concrete, granite skin, arms like industrial machinery. The Grantine partner the informant had mentioned. Stone. Just stone. Serafina walked across the casino floor. Every eye turned, blue skin, pink hair. The kind of entrance that stopped conversations. Darius looked up, froze. His cards fell from his hands, scattered across the table. The room held its breath. Sarah, Darius whispered. You're alive. Hello, Darius. His eyes moved to Lyric, studied her, saw the blue skin lighter than her mother's, saw the brown eyes, his eyes, saw the way she stood, the defensive posture, the compressed readiness. This is, he started, stopped, couldn't finish. Your daughter, Serafina said. Lyric, 7 years, 5 months old. The casino went silent. Even the slot machines seemed to stop their mechanical chirping. Stone rumbled something that might have been truth is evident. Darius stood slowly, moved around the table, stopped 3 feet away. I thought you were dead, he said. I saw the Phoenix explode. I looked for you. For months. I know. How did you survive? Valor and physiology, brief vacuum exposure, hibernation state, barely. Yeah, Darius looked at Lyric again. I have a daughter. Yes. You've been raising her alone. Yes. For 8 years. 7 years, 5 months, Serafina corrected. I was pregnant when you saved me. Something cracked in Darius's expression. The armor he wore, the professional detachment, it shattered. I have a daughter, he said again, like he couldn't believe it, like saying it enough times would make it real. Lyric stepped forward, chin up, defiant. You're the one who left us. Darius blinked. Left. On the burning ship. You stayed behind. Mama spent 8 years looking for you. 8 years I watched her cry every anniversary of that day. 8 years she told me stories about the brave man who sacrificed himself. Her voice was hard, controlled, too controlled for 7 years old. So now what you're here. We're here. Are you going to leave again? The words hit like plasma rounds. Darius knelt, brought himself to her level, looked into those brown eyes that were his eyes. I didn't know you existed, he said quietly. If I had known, if I'd had even the smallest idea that your mother was pregnant, I would have fought my way out of hell itself to get back to you. That's what Mama said you'd say. Then your mother knows me well. She also said you were the best man she'd ever met. Darius glanced at Serafina. She met his gaze. Steady, sure. I don't know if that's true, Darius said, but I can try to be. For you. Lyric studied him, the way only children can study adults, seeing past the lies adults tell themselves. Okay, she said finally, but you're on probation. Fair enough. Stone's voice rumbled from behind them. Small one has your eyes, your stance, this is obvious. Darius stood, looked at his partner. Stone, meet my daughter. Have already met. She threatened to harm you twice within 30 seconds. Good survival instinct. She threatened to kill me with words. Very sharp words. Approve of this. Serafina allowed herself a small smile. 8 years. 8 years of searching. And here he was. Alive. Older. Tired. But alive. The promise could be fulfilled. The reunion lasted 6 hours. Then the sky went dark. Not night, not clouds. Ships. Dozens of them. Dropping from orbit like a plague. Black hulls. Military precision. The symbol painted on every bow, a circle bisected by a sword. The Directorate. Everyone out, Stone said calmly. Threat is present. They ran. Casino patrons scattered like insects. But the Directorate ships weren't targeting the casino. They were targeting the Phoenix Reborn. Serafina's flagship. Her fleet. The first plasma barrage hit 3 ships before they could raise shields. They exploded in silence. Beautiful. Terrible. They found us, Lyric said. Her voice was too calm, too accepting. They always do, Serafina replied. Darius grabbed her arm. How many ships do they have? 30 cruisers. Military grade. We're outgunned. Then we run. No, Serafina pulled away, looked up at the sky, where her fleet was scrambling to respond. We fight. Sarah. I've been running 8 years, Darius. I'm done running. She tapped her communicator. All ships, battle formation, Epsilon 7, stay mobile, target their weapon systems. Don't engage directly. The response was immediate. 200 ships moving like a swarm, not fighting like a military fleet, fighting like pirates, guerrillas, survivors. They couldn't match Directorate firepower, but they could match Directorate persistence. The battle spread across Rebellion's sky like wildfire. Serafina commanded from the street, tactical display projected from her wrist unit, calling targets, coordinating strikes, every decision made in seconds. Darius watched her, saw the commander she'd become, the leader, the woman who'd taken his sacrifice and built an empire from it. She's magnificent, he said quietly. Stone nodded. Yes, you are fortunate she chose you and not someone with better facial hair. Thanks, Stone. You are welcome. Your mustache is still terrible. The directorate adapted, switched from broadsides to precision strikes, targeting individual ships, breaking the formation. Serafina saw it happening, adjusted. All ships, delta pattern, move, move, move. But one of her cruisers was too slow. The directorate focused fire. The ship's shields failed. Hull breached. She watched it explode. Watched the escape pods launch. Some made it. Some didn't. Casualties, she asked. Estimated 47 dead. Her tactical officer reported through the comm. 106 wounded. 47 people who'd followed her, trusted her, died because of her choices. The sword of Arcus pulsed. Angry, hungry, wanting to be unleashed. Not yet, she told it. Not yet. But the artifact didn't listen to reason. Pain exploded in her chest, sharp, sudden, like broken glass in her lungs. She staggered, caught herself on a wall. Sarah? Darius was beside her. What's wrong? Nothing. I'm fine. You're not fine. Another wave of pain. Worse, she gasped. Tasted copper. Blood. Her eyes flashed gold. Just for a moment. Just long enough for Darius to see. The artifact, he breathed. It's fine. I can control it. Sarah, the Directorate cruisers changed formation, converging on the Phoenix Reborn, boarding pods launching. They were coming for her. Stone, Serafina said through gritted teeth. Get Lyric to the flagship. Now. What about you? I'll follow. Stone studied her with those ancient eyes that missed nothing. You speak untruth. Probably go anyway. He went, scooped up Lyric despite her protests, ran with the kind of speed that shouldn't be possible for something made of stone. Darius stayed. I'm not leaving you again, he said. I'm not asking you to. They ran together. The flagship was 3 blocks away. Might as well have been 3 light years. Directorate soldiers flooded the streets. Black armor, plasma rifles, orders to capture the vessel. Kill everyone else. Darius fought. Efficient, professional, every movement economical. 3 soldiers down in 8 seconds. But more kept coming. Serafina's vision blurred. The artifact screaming, wanting out, wanting to protect her, wanting to kill. She let it, just a little. Her eyes blazed pure gold. Power flooded through her veins. She raised one hand. 3 soldiers lifted off the ground, suspended in invisible force, choking. She clenched her fist. They stopped moving. Sarah, Darius grabbed her arm. You're killing yourself. They're killing everyone else. She released the power. The bodies fell. More pain, more blood. She collapsed. Darius caught her. We need to get you to medical. We need to get to the ship. They made it to the landing bay. Phoenix Reborn's ramp was lowered. Lyric stood at the top with Stone, watching, waiting. Behind them, boarding pods hit the flagship's hull, soldiers pouring in like infection. They are inside, Stone reported, attempting to reach command deck. Then we stopped them, Serafina said. Tried to stand. Failed. Darius lifted her. You're not stopping anything. You can barely stand. Put me down. No. They were inside now, the ramp closing, medical teams rushing forward. But Serafina saw it, saw what was happening. Directorate soldiers fighting through corridor by corridor, making for the bridge, making for her, and leading them. A figure in silver armor instead of black. Commander's insignia on the chest. The view screen showed his face when he removed his helmet. Darius went white. Vincent, he whispered. The man smiled. Cold, professional. Commander Vincent Kane. Darius's mentor. His friend. His handler for 15 years. The man who'd taught him everything about being an operative. Hello, Darius. Kane's voice came through the comm. Did you really think you could hide from me? Darius didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Kane's soldiers had reached the command deck. 20 of them, surrounding Serafina and Lyric and everyone she'd brought to this doomed reunion. Hand over the girl, Kane said. The artifact will manifest in her eventually. Better she dies now than becomes what her mother is. Over my dead body, Serafina said. Her voice was weak, but her eyes blazed gold. That can be arranged. Kane gestured to his soldiers. Take them. One soldier, younger than the others, nervous, finger too tight on the trigger. He fired. Not at Serafina, at Lyric. Everything slowed. Serafina saw it, started to move. Too far, too slow. Stone saw it, started to move. Too big, too slow. Darius saw it and moved. He was 3 meters away. Impossible distance, impossible speed. He threw himself forward, intercepted the plasma bolt, took it between his shoulder blades. The impact lifted him off his feet, threw him forward. He hit the deck, didn't move. Lyric screamed, Serafina screamed, and the Sword of Arcus stopped listening to reason. Gold light exploded from her body, pure, incandescent, power without limit or control. The wave hit the Directorate soldiers. They didn't scream, didn't have time, just ceased. 20 soldiers, gone, erased. Nothing left but scorch marks where they'd stood. Kane staggered back, his armor smoking, half his face burned. Retreat, he shouted, retreat now. The Directorate pods detached. The cruisers pulled back, fled into orbit, jumped to hyperspace. Gone. The gold light faded. Serafina collapsed. Stone caught her before she hit the deck. Lyric was on her knees beside Darius, shaking him. Wake up, please wake up. Medical teams swarmed. Someone pushed Lyric back. She fought. Stone had to hold her. Papa, she screamed, the word raw, desperate. The first time she'd called him that. Serafina watched from Stone's arms, watched them work on Darius, watched his blood pool on her deck, watched and couldn't look away. This was her fault. All of it, the Phoenix, the years apart. This. Don't you dare die, she whispered. Don't you dare leave me again. The medical team worked for 10 minutes. Finally, the lead doctor looked up. He's alive, barely. We need to get him to surgery, now. They moved him. Fast, efficient. Lyric tried to follow. Stone held her back. Let me go. You cannot help him, Stone said gently. Doctors will help. We will wait. I just found him. Truth, this is why we must trust doctors. He can't die. He can't. He promised he wouldn't leave. Stone said nothing, just held the small, angry girl who was crying now. Finally crying. Serafina stood. Stone tried to stop her. She waved him off. I need to see him, she said. You need medical attention. After. She walked to the medical bay. Every step was agony. The artifact had taken its price. She could feel her life force draining. 6 months, maybe less now. The promise was supposed to be fulfilled. She'd found him, given him his daughter, given him a reason to live. But if he died, she reached the medical bay. Through the viewport, she could see them working. Darius on the table, his back open, the doctors trying to repair what the plasma had destroyed. So much damage. She pressed her hand against the glass. You saved her, she whispered. Our daughter, you saved her. Just like he'd saved Serafina 8 years ago. The promise kept growing. How many lives did she owe him now, behind her footsteps? Lyric. Stone hadn't been able to hold her. The girl stood beside her mother, both watching, both waiting. Is he going to die? Lyric asked. I don't know. I was mean to him. You were honest. That's different. I said I'd kill him. You're 7. You're allowed to say stupid things. I didn't mean it. I know, baby. They stood together, mother and daughter, watching through glass as doctors fought to save the man who tied them together across 8 years in infinite darkness. The surgery took 6 hours. When the lead doctor finally emerged, she looked exhausted. He'll live, she said, but the damage is extensive. He'll need weeks to recover. Maybe months. But he'll live, Serafina asked. Yes, he'll live. The weight lifted, just a little. Just enough. Lyric collapsed against her mother, relief and exhaustion hitting all at once. Serafina held her, stroked her hair, felt the small body shaking. "It's okay," she whispered. "He's okay, we're all okay." But even as she said it, she felt the artifact pulse, felt the price she'd paid for using its power. 6 months had become 3. The promise was being fulfilled, but the cost kept rising. And somewhere Vincent Kane was regrouping, planning, coming back. This wasn't over. Not even close. Recovery was slower than death. Darius woke 3 days after surgery. His first word was Lyric. "She's fine," Serafina said. She sat beside his bed, hadn't left. "Stone is teaching her grand teen combat techniques. I'm not sure that's appropriate for a 7-year-old, but she seems happy." Darius tried to sit up, failed. The pain in his back was immediate, sharp, a reminder of what plasma did to human tissue. "Don't move," Serafina said. "Doctor's orders." "How bad?" "Bad enough. The bolt misses your spine by 2 centimeters. You'll walk again, fight again, but it'll take time." Time. The word hung between them like a blade. "Kane got away," Darius said. "Yes. He'll be back." "I know." The silence that followed felt heavier than words. "You used the artifact," Darius said finally. "I saw it. The gold light. You killed 20 soldiers in 3 seconds." "Yes." "And what did it cost you?" Serafina looked away. Out the viewport where stars wheeled past in their eternal dance. 3 months, she said quietly. "Maybe less." Darius's breath caught. "Sarah, it was worth it. You saved Lyric. I saved you. We're even." "We're not even. We'll never be even." She turned back to him. Those violet eyes with gold flecks. The flecks were brighter now, the artifact showing through more clearly. "Then let's stop keeping score," she said. He reached for her hand. She took it. 3 months, he repeated, give or take. "What happens to Lyric?" "You happen to Lyric. You're her father. You protect her. You teach her. You give her what I can't." Which is a time, Ibawai, the word cut, sharp, final. "There has to be another way," Darius said. "Medical treatment, artifact removal, something." "There's nothing. Believe me, I've looked. For 8 years I've looked." "Then we look harder." Serafina smiled, Tuma, tired, beautiful. "I love that about you," she said. "You never give up, even when you should." 2 weeks passed. Darius could walk now, slowly, carefully. His back was a mass of scar tissue and synthetic nerve grafts. The doctor said he'd been lucky. He didn't feel lucky. Stone lost his right arm holding off Directorate soldiers while the medical teams worked. The Grand Teen stood in the corridor like a wall made of living concrete. 30 soldiers had tried to get past. None succeeded. But plasma fire eventually found weakness, even in Stone. The arm came off at the elbow. Clean, efficient, the kind of wound that said, "This is the price of loyalty." Now Stone sat in the recreation bay, waiting for the regeneration sleeve to grow a new limb. 3 weeks, the doctor said. Maybe 4. Lyric visited him every day. "Does it hurt?" she asked. "Pain is inefficient," Stone replied. "Do not feel it." "Liar." Stone's massive head turned. Studied the small girl with brown eyes too old for her face. "You are correct. It hurts, but pain is temporary. Family is permanent." "We're family. Are we not?" Lyric considered this. "I guess we are." "Then pain is acceptable." She sat beside him, tiny next to massive, but comfortable, like they'd known each other longer than 2 weeks. "Big Stone," she said, testing the name. "I like that." "I do not." "Too bad. You're a big stone now." Stone sighed, a sound like rocks settling. "Small one is relentless." "Small one is sitting right here." "Yes, this is the problem." Serafina watched them from the doorway, unseen. This strange family that had formed from disaster and sacrifice and 8 years of searching. Her daughter, the father, the loyal friend. Everything she'd never thought she'd have. And now she had 3 months to make it count. She called the meeting 2 weeks after the battle. Command deck. Phoenix reborn. 79 people crowded into a space meant for 30. Captains, lieutenants, the core leadership of her fleet. They'd lost 47 in the battle, over 200 wounded, 6 ships destroyed, 3 more damaged beyond repair. But they'd survived. The Directorate had retreated. That counted for something. Serafina stood at the head of the table, Darius beside her, Stone behind, Lyric in the back, watching, learning. The Directorate will return, Serafina said without preamble. Stronger, better prepared. Commander Kane knows what I am now, knows what I can do. He'll adapt. Then we run, one captain said. Older woman, gray hair, military bearing. We've always run before. Running is over, Serafina replied. We've spent 8 years building this fleet, building this family. I won't spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. Then what do you suggest? Serafina's smile had edges now, the dangerous kind. We eliminate them first. Silence rippled through the room. All of them, someone asked. Every base, every commander, every operative. We find them. We destroy them. And we make sure they never threaten another vessel again. That's, the captain started. Stopped. Searched for words. That's war. No, Darius said. His voice was quiet, but it carried. That's survival. He stepped forward, moved like he still hurt, because he did. I spent 30 years as an operative, he continued. I know how agencies think, how they operate. The Directorate won't stop. They believe artifacts are existential threats. They'll pursue them until every vessel is dead. Every artifact is destroyed. He looked at Serafina, then at Lyric, including my daughter. The words landed like plasma rounds. So yes, Darius said, we go to war, because the alternative is extinction. Serafina pulled up a holographic display. Star charts, Directorate bases scattered across 12 systems. Intelligence gathered over 8 years of running and watching and learning. I've been preparing for this, she said, since the day Lyric was born. Every station I've visited, every contact I've made, every favor I've called in. It's all been building to this. She highlighted the bases, one by one. Simultaneous strikes, 79 operatives, the best pilots, the best fighters, people who've survived against impossible odds. 79 against an entire organization, someone asked. We're not fighting them head on, Serafina said. We're cutting the head off. Command structures, supply lines, intelligence hubs. Without those, the Directorate collapses. She zoomed in on one base, larger than the others, central location. This is where Kane will be. I'm betting everything on it. And if you're wrong, the gray-haired captain asked, then I die knowing I tried. Darius studied the display, saw the brilliance in it, the coordination required, the precision, the ruthlessness. You've been planning this for years, he said. 8 years, 2 weeks, and 3 days, Serafina confirmed. Give or take. She looked around the room, at the faces of people who'd followed her, trusted her, built something impossible with her. I'm not ordering anyone, she said. This is volunteer only. If you want to walk away, walk away. No judgment, no shame. You have already given more than anyone had a right to ask. No one moved. Then we vote, Serafina said, all in favor of declaring war on the Directorate. Every hand rose, even Lyric's, in the back, small, determined. Then we have work to do. The preparation took 3 weeks. Darius made calls, old contacts, former colleagues, people who owed him favors or owed him their lives. The Galactic Security Agency didn't like the Directorate. Rival organizations rarely did. But officially, they couldn't help. Unofficially, Darius obtained clearance codes, patrol schedules, blind spots and sensor coverage, everything they needed to strike without warning. Stone's new arm finished regenerating. He tested it, flexed the fingers, picked up a tactical console and crushed it flat. Adequate, he declared. That console cost 6,000 credits, Serafina said. Then you should buy better quality next time. Lyric trained with the combat instructors. She was fast, intuitive, moved like her mother, thought like her father, fought like she had nothing to lose, because maybe she didn't. She watched her mother every day, saw the way Sarah moved slower, tired faster, coughed into rags she thought no one saw. The gold flecks in her mother's eyes were spreading. Soon they'd be solid gold, Soon the artifact would win. Lyric understood death. She'd lived 8 years in its shadow, but understanding didn't make it hurt less. "Mama," she said one night. They were in Sarah's quarters, reviewing tactical displays. "Yes, baby." "What happens to me when you're in?" Serafina stopped, set down the data pad, turned to face her daughter. "Your father happens to you. Stone happens to you. This fleet happens to you." "That's not what I mean." "I know what you mean." Serafina pulled Lyric close, felt the small body against hers, the warmth, the life. "The artifact is inside you," she said quietly. "Not as strong as in me. Your human blood diluted it, but it's there. Will it kill me too? Maybe, someday, but not for a long time." "How do you know?" "Because you're stronger than I was. You have your father's stubbornness and my refusal to quit. That counts for something." Lyric was quiet for a moment. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Me too. Really, every day. But fear means you're alive. It means you have something worth protecting." "What do I have?" Serafina smiled. "Everything." D-Day arrived on a Tuesday. 79 operatives, 12 star systems, synchronized strikes down to the second. Serafina stayed aboard the Phoenix Reborn, commanding from the bridge, watching tactical displays as her people moved into position. Darius wanted to go. Sarah refused. "You're still healing," she said. "I'm fine." "You're not fine, and I need you here, with Lyric, in case—" She didn't finish. Didn't need to. In case she didn't survive. In case the artifact took her before the battle ended. "Sarah, please, Darius, I can't do this if I'm worrying about you." He nodded, stayed. The strikes began at 0600 Galactic Standard Time. Simultaneous. Precise. Devastating. Serafina watched the reports come in, one by one. Base after base falling. Directorate command structures collapsing. It was working, but Kane wasn't at any of them. "Where are you?" she whispered, staring at the tactical display. "Where are you hiding?" Then her sensors screamed. Single ship, dropping from hyperspace, right on top of them. Kane's flagship. Massive. Armed. Alone. He wasn't hiding. He was hunting. "All hands to battle stations," Serafina ordered. "Prepare for boarding action." "He's alone," her tactical officer said. "One ship against our entire fleet." "No," Darius said. "He was studying the sensor readouts. He's not here to fight. He's here to die." "What? Suicide run. He's loading his reactors, overcharging them. He's going to ram us and detonate." Serafina saw it, saw the plan, saw the trap. Kane knew he'd lost, knew the directorate was finished. So he'd do one final thing. Kill the vessel. Kill the artifact. Stop the threat. Even if it meant his own death. "Evasive maneuvers," Serafina ordered. "Get us out of." Kane's ship accelerated. Impossibly fast. Directly at the Phoenix Reborn. No time to dodge. No time to jump. Serafina made her choice. "Evacuate the ship," she said calmly. "All personnel to escape pods. Now." "Captain." "Now." The crew moved. Trained. Professional. They drilled for this. Darius grabbed Lyric, started toward the Peats. Serafina didn't follow. "Sarah," Darius shouted. "What are you doing?" "I'm staying." "Like hell you are." "Oh, someone has to pilot the ship. Draw him away from the fleet. If he detonates here, we lose everything." "Then I'm staying with you." "No, you're taking our daughter to safety." Lyric struggled. "Mama, no." Serafina looked at them, her family, everything she'd built from sacrifice and 8 years and impossible promises. "I love you," she said. "Both of you. Remember that." "Mama, please." Stone appeared. Massive, immovable. He picked up both Darius and Lyric. "She has made her choice," Stone said. "We will honor it." "Stone," Darius fought. "She is commander. We obey." He carried them away, toward the Peats, toward safety. Serafina watched them go, felt her heart break, felt the artifact pulse in response. "Good," she thought. "I'll need your power for this." She sat at the helm, took manual control, pointed the Phoenix Reborn away from the fleet, toward open space, toward nothing. Kane followed. Of course he followed. His voice came over the comm, distorted, damaged. Half his face was still burned from their last encounter. You can't run from me, Serafina. I'm not running from you, Vincent. I'm leading you. She pushed the engines, faster, farther. Kane matched her, closing distance. You killed my family, he said. The artifact killed them, discharged during a containment failure, vaporized a city, my wife, my children, everything. I'm sorry, Serafina said, and meant it. Sorry doesn't bring them back. No, it doesn't, but killing me won't either. Maybe, but it'll stop you from killing anyone else. His ship was close now, meters away. She could see his face on the view screen, burned, twisted, a man who'd lost everything and decided vengeance was purpose enough. You're wrong about me, Serafina said. I'm not a weapon. I'm a mother, a commander, a woman trying to protect what's hers. You're a threat. All vessels are threats. Then why are you killing yourself to stop me? If vessels are so dangerous, why not let me live? Why not let the artifact kill me in 3 months? Kane went silent. Because you don't believe that, Serafina continued. You believe I'm dangerous because I have something you lost. Family, purpose, hope. You don't know anything about me. I know you were Darius's mentor. I know you taught him everything. I know he loved you like a father. And I know that somewhere inside that burned shell, there's still the man he remembers. That man died with his family. No, he's just hiding, behind pain, behind vengeance, behind this stupid suicide run. Kane's ship was touching hers now, hull to hull, his reactors screaming, ready to detonate. Give me one reason, he said, one reason not to end this. Serafina smiled, looked directly into the camera. Because if you kill me, you prove yourself right. Artifacts are too dangerous. They destroy everything. But if you let me live, you prove something else. That people can be stronger than their power. That mercy matters more than vengeance. You're asking me to show mercy to the thing that killed my family. I'm asking you to show mercy to a mother who's trying not to become the thing you fear. The silence that followed felt infinite, heavy, the kind that exists before worlds end or begin. Kane's reactors powered down. His ship pulled away. Just a little. Just enough. 3 months, he said finally. That's what Directorate Intelligence said you had left. Yes. Will you survive it? No. And your daughter, she'll live. Darius will make sure of it. Kane nodded, slow, tired. A man who'd carried hate too long and found it heavy. Then I'll let you have those 3 months, he said. But after you're gone, if the artifact manifests in your daughter, if she becomes a threat, you'll do what you have to do. Serafina finished. I understand. Kane's ship turned, jumped into hyperspace, gone. Serafina sat at the helm, alone, shaking. The comm crackled. Darius's voice. Sarah, answer me. Sarah, I'm here. What the hell were you thinking? I was thinking 3 months is too short to waste on dying early. Silence. Then laughter, raw, relieved, exhausted. You're insane, Darius said. Probably. Come pick me up. I'm tired of flying this thing alone. 3 days later, the Galactic Security Agency arrived, not with ships, just with their director. A small woman with iron gray hair and eyes that had seen the worst of the galaxy and stopped being surprised. Serafina Valen, she said, also known as the Sapphire Commander, also known as the most wanted woman in 3-star systems. Former most wanted, Serafina corrected. The directorate just collapsed. Check your files. The director's smile was thin, professional. We're aware. Congratulations. You've eliminated a rival organization and created a power vacuum. Now we need to discuss the artifacts. No. No. No, the Sword of Arcus stays with me. My daughter's inheritance stays with her. This is non-negotiable. Everything is negotiable. Serafina stood, walked to the viewport. Outside, her fleet held formation. 200 ships, crew loyal to her. Not to Earth, not to any government. Let me explain something, Serafina said. Her voice was calm, cold. I have 3 months to live, maybe less, I've spent 8 years building this fleet, protecting people your agency abandoned, destroying threats your agency ignored. She turned, met the director's eyes. I owe you nothing. You owe me everything. And if you try to take what's mine, I will use the 3 months I have left to show you exactly how dangerous a dying vessel can be. The director studied her, calculation visible on her face. You're bluffing. Am I? Serafina's eyes flashed gold. Just for a moment. Just long enough. Darius Thorne killed 14 people with silverware. I ended 20 lives in 3 seconds. Do you really want to test me? The air between them crackled with tension. What do you want? The director asked finally. I want you to take credit for destroying the directorate. I'll give you all their files. Intelligence, research, false leads about other artifacts. Enough to keep your agency busy for decades. And in return, you leave my family alone. You don't pursue the sword. You don't come after my daughter. You forget we exist. And if we don't agree, Serafina's smile had edges again. Then I broadcast every classified file Darius collected over 30 years, every lie, every cover-up, every dirty secret your agency buried, and I watch you burn from the ashes. The director's jaw tightened. You'd destroy us. In a heartbeat. For what, 3 months of peace? For my daughter's future. The director considered this. Long moments stretching into eternity, then nodded. Deal. But Thorne filed a false report 8 years ago. Said you died in the Phoenix disaster. That's treason. He was protecting me. He was committing a crime. And yet you're here negotiating, not arresting. So clearly you need something more than you need revenge. The director's expression didn't change. But something shifted behind her eyes. If the artifact manifests in the girl, if she becomes a threat, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, Serafine said. If we come to it. The director left. No handshake, no pleasantries, just acceptance of terms from someone who had no better options. Darius waited until she was gone. You would have done it, he said. Destroyed the agency. Without hesitation. Even knowing it would make us enemies of every government ad. We're already enemies, Darius. At least this way we're enemies they're afraid of. He pulled her close, careful of her fragile body. The artifact was consuming her faster now. She'd lost weight. Her skin was paler, the gold in her eyes permanent. 3 months, he said. Give or take. What do you want to do with it? She looked at him. This man who'd given up his life for her twice, who'd become a father to a daughter he'd never known, who'd stood beside her through impossible odds. I want to go home, she said. Home, somewhere green, somewhere quiet, somewhere our daughter can be a child instead of a soldier. Darius smiled, pulled out a small hollow projector, activated it. A house on a hill, green fields, blue skies, strange six-legged cattle grazing. Planet Haven, he said. I bought the land 8 years ago. First the Phoenix, I thought, if you were alive, if I found you, we'd need somewhere safe. Serafina stared at the image, felt something warm spread through her chest. You bought us a home. I bought us hope. She kissed him, soft, gentle. The kind of kiss that said, thank you for believing. Let's go home. 3 months passed like water through fingers. Planet Haven lived up to its name. Green, quiet, safe. The compound Darius built was excessive. Motion sensors, hidden armory, 3 escape tunnels, defense grid that could shoot down a cruiser. It's not a compound, he insisted. It's a family home with reasonable security measures. You have a defense grid, Serafina pointed out. Reasonable security. You're paranoid. I'm careful. But she loved it. Loved watching him check the perimeter every night. Loved watching him come back inside where she waited by the window. Loved feeling safe for the first time in 11 years. Serafina was 2 months pregnant when they arrived. She didn't tell Darius at first. Didn't want him to know she'd carried twins she'd never see grow up. But her body showed the truth within weeks. Twins, the medical scanner confirmed. Darius stared at the readout, then at her. Sarah, I know I won't meet them, but you will, and Lyric will. They'll have family. He pulled her close, said nothing, because there was nothing to say. Stone lived in the guest house, a reinforced bunker built for grand team proportions. He pretended not to care about the gardens Sarah helped him plant. Purple flowers, Valoran varieties. They are adequate, he said. Blooms do not wilt quickly. You love them, Lyric teased. I tolerate them. Liar. Yes, this is accurate. Lyric was almost 8 now, training constantly, combat, tactics, starship operations, everything a child shouldn't need, everything this child did. She knew her mother was dying, knew it with every coughing fit, every moment Sarah paused at the top of stairs, every night she slept longer than before. They didn't talk about it. What was there to say? One morning, Lyric found Sarah on the porch, watching sunrise. Mama. Yes, baby. How much time? Sarah didn't pretend to misunderstand. Weeks, maybe days. Lyric sat beside her. They watched the sun paint the sky in oranges and pinks. What happens when you're gone? You happen. You take care of your father, your siblings, you protect them. What about the artifact? Sarah turned, met her daughter's eyes, those brown eyes that were Darius's eyes. The sword of Arcus will transfer to you, not all of it. Your human blood weakens the connection, but enough. Will it kill me too? Maybe, someday, but not for a long time, and by then maybe we'll have found a way to remove it safely. You don't believe that. No, but I believe in you, that's enough. Lyric leaned against her mother, felt the thin body, the fragile warmth. I'm going to miss you, she whispered. I'm going to miss you too, but I'll always be with you. In here. Sarah tapped Lyric's chest. In the strength I gave you, the lessons I taught you, the stubbornness that won't let you quit. And the artifact. Yes, and the artifact. My burden becomes yours. I'm sorry for that. Don't be, you gave me life. That's enough. They sat together, mother and daughter, watching the sun rise over Haven's green fields. Later that day, Sarah collapsed. Darius found her in the garden, lying among stones, purple flowers. Her eyes were solid gold now, the artifact fully manifested. Sarah. He carried her inside, called for medical help, but they both knew this was the end. She woke in their bed, Darius beside her, Lyric at the foot, Stone standing in the doorway, too big to come closer, but present. Everyone's here, Sarah said. Her voice was weak, but steady. Where else would we be? Darius replied. She smiled, reached for his hand, for Lyric's hand. I fulfilled the promise, she said. What promise? The seat. The life you gave me, I found you, gave you Lyric, gave you family, gave you 8 years of searching and 3 months of peace. Sarah, the promise is fulfilled. Both ways, we're even. We were never keeping score. I know, but I needed to say it. Her breathing was slowing, the artifact consuming the last of her life force. Darius, yes, thank you for the seat, for the sacrifice, for giving me everything I never knew I wanted. Thank you for coming back, for finding me, for making me remember how to be human. Sarah closed her eyes, felt the warmth of their hands, felt the presence of her family. Take care of them, she whispered, always. And tell them their mother loved them, every day, every moment, until the very end. They know. Tell them anyway. Serafina Valen died at sunset, surrounded by family, peaceful, complete. The sword of Arcus transferred to Lyric that night. She woke screaming, gold light blazing from her eyes. Darius was there, holding her, anchoring her. I've got you, he said. I've got you. The light faded. Lyric collapsed against him, crying. It hurts, she sobbed. I know. Is this what Mama felt? Every day. How did she survive it? Darius pulled back, looked at his daughter, saw Sarah in her features, saw himself in her determination. She survived because she had us, and now you have us. You're not alone in this. Lyric nodded, wiped her eyes. What do we do now? Now, Darius looked out the window. At Haven's fields, at the life Sarah had helped them build. Now we live. We raise the twins. We protect each other. We honor her memory by being the family she fought so hard to give us. That's it. That's everything. They buried her on the hill, the one where she'd watched sunrises, where she'd taught Lyric about the artifact, where she'd made her final plans. The funeral was small, just family. Darius, Lyric, Stone. The twins too young to understand, but crying because everyone else was. Darius stood at the grave marker long after the others left. Stone had carved it from local granite. Simple, elegant. Serafina Valen, mother. Commander, free. She gave me everything, Darius said to the empty field. A daughter, a purpose, a reason to survive. And I couldn't save her. You did save her, Stone's voice rumbled behind him. 8 years ago, on Phoenix, you gave her time. She used it well. 3 months, that's all I gave her here. She gave you eternity, a family that will carry her forward. That is more than time. That is legacy. Darius nodded, couldn't speak. That night, Lyric came to him. The artifact had fully transferred. Her eyes were violet now, gold flecks permanent. It hurts, she said. I know. How did she bear it? She thought of you, every day, every moment. You were her reason. And now you're my reason, and the twins' reason. We bear it together. Lyric leaned against him, father and daughter, bound by loss and love and the promise Sarah had made them keep. We'll be okay, she said. Not a question, a statement. Yes, Darius agreed. We will. 8 years later, Lyric stood on the porch, watching the sunset, same spot where her mother died. She was 15 now, taller, stronger. The artifact was part of her. She'd learned to control it, mostly. Behind her, the house was chaos. Leo and Luna fighting over something pointless. Darius trying to mediate. Stone suggesting they settle it with combat. Violence is not the answer, Darius said. Violence is always an answer, Stone replied. That's not helpful. And being perfectly helpful, small loud ones must learn conflict resolution. Through violence. Is there another way? Lyric smiled. Turned back to the sunset. Footsteps behind her. Darius. He joined her at the railing. Thinking about her, he asked. Always. They stood in comfortable silence. Father and daughter, watching the sun paint the skyway. She'd be proud of you, Darius said finally. You think so? I know so. You've mastered the artifact, protected your siblings, kept this family together. That's what she wanted. I miss her. Me too. Every day. Luna appeared in the doorway, 8 years old, violet eyes with gold flecks, the artifact manifesting stronger in her than in Lyric. Daddy Lyric, dinner's ready. Big Stone made something he calls food, but it looks like rocks. It is nutritionally adequate, Stone's voice rumbled from inside. It's gray and lumpy. As stated, adequate. Lyric laughed, followed Luna inside. Darius stayed a moment longer, looked at the sunset, at the fields, at the home they'd built. We did it, Sarah, he whispered. We kept our promises, both of us. The promises fulfilled. The wind carried his words away, but somewhere in the spaces between stars, maybe she heard. Inside, dinner was exactly as chaotic as expected. Stone's cooking was terrible. The twins complained. Lyric tried to mediate. Darius refereed. It was loud, messy, imperfect. It was family. After dinner, Lyric wrote in her journal, a habit she'd started after her mother died. Day 2920 on Haven, she wrote. But who's counting? It's been 8 years since Mama died. 8 years of learning to live with the artifact. Learning to be the big sister. Learning to be strong when I want to be weak. Papa is teaching the twins self-defense. Luna's eyes flash gold when she's angry. The artifact is waking in her. Sooner than anyone expected. Someday we'll have to deal with that, but not today. Today there are burnt dinners to eat and siblings to protect and a father who still checks the perimeter every night. Mama taught me that promises must be kept. A stranger gave her a seat when she had nothing. She spent 8 years finding him, 3 months with him, and in that time she gave him everything. The promise is fulfilled now, both ways. Papa gave her life. She gave him purpose. They gave each other us. I carry her burden now, the sword of Arcus, the artifact that killed her. Someday it might kill me too. But not today. Today I'm alive. We're alive, and that's what matters. Lyric closed the journal, looked out her window at Haven's twin moons rising. Thank you, Mama, she whispered, for everything, for the sacrifice, for the search, for the family, for showing me that one act of kindness can change the universe. The promise is fulfilled, and the story continues. In the distance, Luna's laughter carried on the wind, pure, joyful, untouched by the darkness growing inside her. Lyric smiled. Tomorrow they'd worry about artifacts and manifestations and the dangers ahead. Tonight they'd had dinner and laughter and each other. That was enough. That was everything. The last seat on the Star Phoenix had saved one life, and that one life had created this. A family, a home, a future. Some promises could never be fully repaid, but they could be honored. And in honoring them, they could change everything.